Hi everyone, and welcome to today's Love Transformation class. And I'm super excited because I'm joined today by the beautiful Anya Grace, and we're going to have a conversation that's not often talked about, and that's about loneliness and how we reconcile our deepest desires to be in a beautiful, connected soulmate relationship with our need to feel completely okay to be alone, and so much more. If you're not familiar with Anya, I suggest that you pause the video right now, have a quick read of her bio and pop back. But welcome, Anya.
Thank you so much. I love this conversation. I love everything that you're creating this week. And I just think it's a huge gift to whoever is watching. So thanks for inviting me. I feel really honored.
Beautiful. We're so honoured to have you. And it was not too long ago, I think I read a blog article of yours or watched a video where you talked about embracing loneliness. And for someone who works to support women to help them create beautiful connections, it was interesting. It was almost a counterintuitive perspective, and I'm really interested to know how this conversation came up for you. What made you sort of think of sharing this with your audience?
Absolutely. So what my specialty is, and is really intimacy from the perspective of feminine energy and spirituality, which is to me one and the same, that our feminine energy arises from our connection to something higher, whatever that looks like, our higher self, to source energy, whatever, resonates with whoever is watching this. But our power as women that we haven't been allowed to embrace is, it's not just that light that we bring to the world, but it's also our depth. And if you think about even in an intimate sexual experience, when a man enters into a woman's body, he's entering into this depth and into this darkness. And it's something that the masculine force values so deeply, so much. And so when we think about this idea of loneliness and the challenges and the struggles that we've all gone through, we can enhance our personal power as women by looking at those as opportunities to increase our capacity to hold love and to ultimately experience more intimacy and more connection in our life. Because rather than capping our potential to feel, we're literally letting ourselves go into the depth of the deepest crevices of who we are and carve ourselves out. And I mean, just to speak into the realm of relationship, when you come to a relationship, really embracing that depth, it's just something that, again, we were not told this, and we don't talk about this that often, but that depth is the most valuable thing that a man can truly experience. It's not just your, joy and laughter and fun and joy. It's also your heart and your deep feelings, your deep wisdom that arises really in these moments of loneliness or being alone. And there's a slight difference between loneliness and being alone. Loneliness is more where we are being more of a victim to those circumstances. And I mean, it's okay to feel lonely, and we all have felt lonely before, but at least in the elevated woman philosophy, that it's really that every single thing that happens in our life is truly here to deepen us and to bring more wisdom if we choose that. So we can transform those moments of loneliness to moments of being all one, alone with the universe and with our higher self, however that looks like and however that feels like. Sometimes it's not comfortable, but then remembering that, maybe you go through a period of like 2, 3, 4 months of being more alone, and the depth and the substance that's created during that time, when we emerge from that and, come back out into the world and we meet people and we meet potential lovers or we reconnect with somebody, we have more love for ourselves. And there's this deepened compassion and power that we hold for being so raw with ourselves. So again, like this conversation, really, we can embrace so much personal feminine power by going into the heart and staying raw with that, with ourselves, and allowing everything to just deepen us. So does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. So the difference between feeling lonely and being alone is not just a mindset shift. It's not just, it's like saying, I'm okay with being alone. It is something that we really embody. And I'd love you to, talk more about how we would go about, if for those that are listening that are feeling a sense of loneliness at the moment, feeling a sense that something is missing, that having that soul connection, that partnership is missing, what in a practical sense could they do to go and start embracing being alone and for it to start to feel good?
Yeah, I love that question. So I'll share a little story that just happened yesterday. I was with a woman who, we were in a really beautiful workshop, and she was going through a moment of deep self-reflection on her childhood and just the trauma that she had gone through. And, the triggers and the rawness that were so present in her heart and that were just coming up and being released through tears. It was so beautiful to see, because I've been there so many times in my life. And one thing that I told her is that, our pain is such a deep aspect to our beauty. And it's very different from being a victim, again, but really seeing that we were handed a deck of cards. And, we sometimes we can judge those cards and say this is a bad hand, but sometimes that hand, we don't know how it will unfold. And the beauty in really just choosing to have trust and faith and do that inner work, which comes from being alone. It honestly does. I mean, we do a lot in community and we do a lot in support, but bottom line is we enter this world and we're singular. We are this individual soul and this individual human, and we exit in that way too. And so there is this fundamental individual aspect to being here on the planet, and we're so connected. So I think it's and when I was supporting her and remembering, is it's like when this person, this divine mate, this divine masculine partner that is really truly going to come into your life, is going to, like, this time of you really letting these traumas surface and really letting yourself feel this deep pain, it's carving this depth into you, and it's carving this self-love and compassion into you. And when you see an older person and wrinkles, it's like that saying of wrinkles are actually just lines of wisdom. And there's a beauty in that depth, and you can look at somebody's eyes and as we do more of this work of going within, you begin to see the world and connect with people at deeper levels, because you have seen yourself so transparently, and then you become a gift in the world of just this open vessel of love, and you see people and you see straight through everything, and you can meet them at their heart, and you can meet them with their pain. And that's our power. That's truly, I think, especially as women, to be able to see somebody and also bring them into our heart space in that moment, even if it's just through a glance, is something that it's a lost power, and it's a lost art of true depth and true connection. So to bring it full circle, I think it always starts with the mindset. It always starts with just flipping the script and seeing how this moment, perhaps if you just were crying, let's say, or you're in heartbreak right now, like heartbreak, the power of heartbreak is it opens your heart, and yes, there's pain and loss, but it originates from love. So it's one of the most powerful states to be in, and it's a very strong feminine energy state to have a broken heart, actually, because you're feeling love. There's a literal draw of, you can feel your heart, you know? And so anytime we're focused here, we're activating our magnetic field, and that power to attract and truly draw in maybe something that's more in alignment is more at our fingertips. So I think really just your beauty involves all of you, and it involves the hardest parts of your life, and it involves your willingness to go in and feel that and build the compassion and the grace to hold that part of you simultaneously as you're holding these other light parts of you. And that combination in love and in relationship is something that I personally think it's the alchemy for the world right now. It's the thing that initiates and activates men and women when we hold that level of depth within.
Beautiful. There's actually 2 points out of what you just shared that I wanted to sort of highlight again as well. The first one is with regards to trusting that we are in exactly the right place where we need to be right now, and that our divine partner will find its way. And I know you've probably had a similar experience. Most of my clients, once they're actually in that relationship, they reflect back and say that it's taken them up until that point to become the person that they needed to be an energetic match for that quality of relationship, and that if they had have found a relationship earlier, it just wouldn't have had that same depth, because they've been able to crack open with all the challenges and pain and heartbreak that they've gone through and really heal what's needed to be healed, and to be able to be in the right space to create that depth. And so I wanted to talk about that, about how a lot of us are tending to perhaps find attractions and connections at a little bit more of a superficial level, and what it really requires to create that deep connection.
That's a great question. I love that so much. So, so the elevated woman, which is the elevated woman archetype, I'll just talk about really briefly. I talk about the elevated woman because she is, and she's really birthed through the work I've been doing, is she's an initiator and an activator for a higher potential on the planet. And she knows that her true value and her true beauty is coming from a source that is so much greater than just her physical beauty, her appearance, and anything that she's created or manifested or built on the outside. That those external pieces are byproducts of the inner beauty that she activates and that she originates from deep within and from above, whatever source that she connects to. That her beauty, and it's actually paramount that she's seen for her inner beauty more than she's seen for her outer beauty, and respected obviously for the outer beauty, but her to truly be seen means that somebody is acknowledging the wisdom that she holds and the power of her spiritual connection and the healing presence that she holds in her, in her aura, or in her energy. That's her true beauty. And I think that a lot of people drawn to this will resonate with that, we've all gone through many different relationships, and sometimes those relationships we don't feel as honored and as seen. So I think really part of it is remembering that your value is coming from such a deep source. And just in being on a date, or just in being in the presence of your mate, you are giving so much. And it's just a funny thing because it's a modern day and dating looks totally different these days. But if we drop it all down to an energetic level and look at the feminine and the masculine, or even not that, but the receptive and the emissive qualities that are held in these polarities, our bodies are literally built to receive and to hold and to be dove into and to be experienced. And our connection to our heart is so powerful as women. And yet we're living in a world that completely loves and adores and amplifies the need to prove and to do and to create externally in order to have value. So the mind flip, again, is to unapologetically embrace your power originating in your energy. You know, maybe you're in a masculine job setting. Like I used to be a river guide. So I worked in like the most masculine environment there was, just like all these dudes and me and like, you know, being very physical in the body. And and my dad was a river guide. So it was like, I was raised in that environment where my worth was based on my physical exertion, my ability to level up and be with the dudes and throw a football. Literally, that was like and I love all those things, but it wasn't, took a while for me to remember that my true value is actually just inherent, that just my presence alone is such a huge gift. And then later I found out that actually the company doesn't ever send a crew out without a female guide, because the presence of her energy helps the crew shift so much and helps them not be so competitive and aggravated. And it just creates this really more balanced energy. And so anyway, that's just a side note, but it's really about learning and standing for the fact that you, as an embodiment of the feminine energy, are the most valuable thing that our planet can be experiencing right now. That level of love and connection to your heart and emotions and feelings and intuition and wisdom and just your straight up energy, your Shakti force, it's beyond valuable. So when you're on a date and your partner is paying for the date, they're really, you can see it as like they're saying thank you for you sharing your energy with them, and for this moment that they get to experience being around this powerful source of love and wisdom and light that you are, and depth. So I think the trick to moving from a more superficial to deep love relationship is, I mean, we can only be as intimate with another as we are with ourselves. So really doing the work to dive in, I call it the alchemy of love, and just doing that inner work within our own love bubble and container. And whether we're in a relationship or not, we can work with the divine masculine force to create the container and safety that we need to be seen in ourselves, and to, you know, really express our depth and to be loved and honored for that. And once we create that, then it can be mirrored on the outside. So I have a little trick that I can share in terms of dating exactly, but I want to just throw it back to you and see if you want to add something to that.
Perfect timing, because that was what I was going to ask with regards to the inner work and really activating that elevated woman. Would you say that there are that inner work or those practices are different for everybody? Are there specific things that you've found do really support women in creating that kind of energy? What are your thoughts about that inner work and what that means for individuals?
I love that question. That's really good. So I would say, I mean, everybody's path is very different. Mine has been a little bit more heavy. That's just my soul is a little, I work with heavier energy sometimes, and that's been my path, is going into this kind of deeper dive and some deep challenges and pain. But I have a really close friend. I was just talking to her, and she was like, I think I need to do some more spiritual healing work. And she's like, what do you think that will look like? And we had a conversation about, for her, it's not necessarily that it has to be this heavy hitting, deep, intense experience. It's just more like holding space and setting intention for transformation to occur, and knowing that maybe some discomfort will arise, but it doesn't have to be so scary. And so everybody's journey will be different. Bottom line, it's about connecting to the heart. And on a scientific level, our body and our heart creates a magnetic field, and the mind, the brain creates an electric field. And if we look at the masculine and feminine energies, the feminine is magnetic and the masculine is electric. And we think of the mind being the center of logic and reason and focus and drive, and you know, really having that higher guidance, higher wisdom come in and be able to take leadership, to take a kingdom from point A to point B and have that foresight, the foreskin. Like there's so many ties to the divine masculine being this powerful center in the head, you know? And then, but really the kingdom only thrives when that divine masculine is connected to the queen, the heart, to the emotions, and to the deeper why of why are we taking this kingdom from A to B? Why is this why is this truly how is this in service to the depths of these people? And when the head is cut off from the heart, we've all seen what's happened in the world. So that kingdom really truly thrives when these two are working together and they're taking action from this place of willpower, divine will, when these two are aligned. So I don't know how I got there. What was
so for someone who's seeking potentially to add some new rituals or explore some new practices that might help with that connection and really elevate that feminine and embody that feminine energy, can you share with us what's worked with your clients, what types of practices they might be able to look into or start incorporating?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. So we work with a lot of heart-centered meditation work. And because anytime we're focused here and we literally drop our mind into the heart center, we're moving out of the masculine and into the feminine. And but we are adding part of the meditation that everybody has access to today is one of the meditations from the feminine empowerment, the feminine activation training that I've led, which works with different archetypes. So the one that I'm gifting everybody here is the queen archetype. It is so powerful. And so working with archetypes can be really beneficial because sometimes we just need an avatar to remind us of our potential and to feel into their energies and realize that that's alive in you and it's just been dormant or locked away. And so the feminine activation system is like working with the queen and the maiden and the goddess and the high priestess and just awakening all of the dimensions of our power as women, because it's not one dimensional. Our power is in our ability to shapeshift and transform and, go through 20,000 emotions every day and know that that's a gift to whoever our divine partner is. That the divine masculine really has an inner, that I truly believe that men have this inner wisdom that knows how to take a woman out of her head and into her heart. Because when she's in her heart, she's in her body, and when she's in her body and her heart, he benefits the most. And it's not like he's trying to take, it's just that's just such a gift to be able to just drop down here together, and that men also have this inherent wisdom to help her, to shift her, to use his hands as these powerful masculine hands to literally shift her from one mood into another. And if you all think about a time where you got like a little triggered when your guy did something that, didn't make you feel so good, and maybe you have had the experience of him just like saying something or doing something or pulling you close or whispering something in your ear, where you just like can't help but smile, I can't help but melt. And just like I have the chills. I love that because that's just such a gift that the masculine gives us, and we don't acknowledge it in them much. But part of bringing in your next level love is being able to recognize the beauty that the masculine gives us in our lives. Okay, here we go. Coming back. So my point in all of that, see, this is the dynamic feminine. Embracing it because it's beautiful, and the chaos it gives a substance for the divine masculine to create order inside of and to give purpose to create structure around. So I would say the biggest practice that every single woman can do here, and every man too, but is just spend every single day, just spend one moment, not even a minute, just a moment, putting your hand over your heart, taking a deep breath in, and remembering that your value comes from your energy. And this energy is so profound and so beautiful that just connecting with it, even for a moment, you feel the depth of who you are. And that begins to radiate, that depth and that beauty begins to radiate from an infinite source. And you walk into the world and you hold this wisdom within you, and you don't have to say anything, and you don't have to do anything or prove anything, but your presence alone is initiating and activating everyone. You know the truth. You know your truth. You know how powerful you are, and how powerful the whole world really is. And so you become this initiator and activator. It comes from building that substance and that depth within, and it doesn't take very long. It just takes putting your hand over your heart, but every single day remembering your true wisdom, your true power, your true worth is coming from this infinite source. So, and then it just becomes normal and your body and your Shakti are just flowing constantly. You walk into a date or you walk into a meeting room and you remember, like, you have no doubt over your value. Does that make sense?
It does. And thank you so much for that beautiful reminder, because that's something we can do anywhere, anytime. And I noticed just even in that moment, there were some resistances that I didn't even realize that I was holding on to, that I literally just felt such a beautiful release then. So thank you so much for reminding us that practice is available to us anytime. It is so powerful.
I love that. I felt that too. Yeah, it's just so nice to drop in. And I like that you use the word release, because it just reminded me too, in intimacy, we think of men, you know, I mean, this might be a little bit extreme, but we think of like ejaculation and men really being the ones who are releasing, but women have the power to release as well. Amrita, this divine nectar of the goddess, and it's not very much talked about, but it's really the downward flow of energy. And if you think of like the masculine and feminine triangles, the feminine is pointing down and the masculine is pointing up. So in sexual union and intimacy, there's this release of these waters of the goddess, this Amrita, and this, you know, this deep penetration of the waters upward, and they merge in this point of alchemy, this point of transmutation, and it's just so profound. But also just like every time we have these emotions build up, I used to think that the whole world experienced the world the same way I was. And then I started to realize that it's not. Like, not every single person out there is feeling at such deep levels. And I have a feeling that a lot of people here have deep feelings and do, you know, deal with these things. And it's hard to live in a world where you're not allowed to, or you're told that that's not, you know, okay. But just think about a baby, and when a baby's in the room, it's alchemizing so much. Like, it just is absorbing and releasing and clearing away so much. And that's what you are. That's truly what you are, as this deep, powerful, intimate woman connected to your heart space. And that's what you can deepen into even more, you know, is this just deep power to receive and feel and release. And that gift that you are in the world is, we don't recognize it, but that is who you are. That is what you've been doing this whole time. That's why it's kind of been an intense life, but you also know what's possible, and you know that there's something more. And I hope to just be a mirror that, yes, like, follow that, because that inspiration that there's something more possible that is why you are an initiator and an activator. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And that's a perfect time, because I sort of wanted to circle back a little bit and tie in our conversation about being okay with being alone. And again, just I guess sharing with the women that have that that want to honor that very deep desire for connection, but in doing that, it also perhaps feels, you know, I guess triggers or initiates some kind of pain perhaps at the lack of connection in the moment, and just sort of tie all that in with any additional thoughts you have about where they might be now.
Love it. Okay, so I remember what we were supposed to talk about now too. So I think I remember what you probably saw me talk about. When we desire something that's not present, the power of desire is our magnetic potential, because it's our desire is coming from our higher self. You know, where we want something and we can envision something because it's we're being told that that's what's possible, and the pain of it not being here, we can either let it take us down or we can use that to manifest. So the seductress archetype is really powerful because she can be any of the other archetypes. She can channel the queen, she can channel the goddess, she can channel the maiden, but she's ultimately doing this from a place of void, of emptiness, that she is so connected to her womb space, which is an empty black hole. And she's connecting with what she wants to feel, what she wants to experience, what she wants to receive. And her desire and her emptiness is what calls it in. So your void, that emptiness, is the infinite potential of the universe right here in your body. And so that infinite potential of the universe, that void, that loneliness, that all one space, that is your power to manifest what you want. So rather than suppressing it, literally you can manifest so much more than you thought possible by going into that space and really asking your body, what do you want? Like, how can I be in this pain of not having it and get to know what is actually supposed to come in and fill this? Does that?
Yeah. And when we go there, for a lot of us, there will be some pain there. How do we move through that?
Perfect. So one of my favorite meditations to do is just the alchemy of love. Like you just put your hand over your heart, and my favorite trick is just to think of something or someone that I love. You know, sometimes I'll use my stuffed animal, like the stuffed animal I used to have when I was a kid, Juicy Juice. Or I'll use the example, I'll just think of my cat, my little kitty cat that I grew up with, and I'll bring up a picture in my mind of hugging that cat, of hugging my kitty and petting my kitty, and just paint the picture in the whole room. What does the lighting look like? What is the temperature of the air? You know, in my vision, it's usually like a late afternoon lighting. And there's just this, and what's happening is you are being the generation of love. Like, you are generating love, and it's not coming from anywhere outside of you. And when you can feel into that love and activate it in your heart, then you can hold that love and go into the void and go into the pain and the darkness and the emptiness, and just be with the discomfort of that, and let these two slowly come together. And you hold love constantly, and then you feel the pain, and you let those two merge. And I really believe that when we learn how to become united with both of these sources and forces at the same time, we understand all. We understand the universe, that we are both light and dark, and we are not here as humans just to experience lightness, obviously, right? We are here to experience depth and challenge and deepening experience, because truly we experience those things because for every dark emotion and painful frequency, and for all those painful things that we see and feel, there's an opposite energy to that. And so if we can become masters of identifying what that opposite frequency is, and uniting with the two and alchemizing and coming into that neutral point, that I don't think that there's anything more powerful than that we can become as humans. So there's one more thing though. and it'll come. But yeah, so I think that's what I want to say so far. But there's one more piece, so hopefully it will come back when, yeah.
It's okay. I'm so excited. I'm actually really excited to dive into this work even more. So let's share with everyone what amazing gifts are available for the daily activation download and the meditation today.
Yes. So I'm super excited to give you guys this meditation. I've had hundreds of women go through the whole program and just be completely transformed by working with these archetypes. So I think everybody will love this queen archetype so much. And then the gift that I also want to give everybody is 24 hours to activate your feminine energy. And it's just really powerful conversations and initiations around healing trauma and, you know, activating this inner power in order to really step into external purpose, to draw in divine love. It all comes from here first. So it's a way to dive into that inner work and then manifest from the outside.
Beautiful. And are there any more downloads that you'd like to share with the audience before we finish?
Yeah, I think just put your hand over your heart right now and take a deep breath in. And anytime I need to receive something, even anytime I need something, this is the way to activate that power to receive as a woman. Is just to go within and await and be patient in the darkness and to let that pain work on you, to carve you out, and to shape you and create you again and again and again. I think that the last piece that I want to share with everybody is your love for yourself, your relentless self-love will become your best friend on this journey. And even if you're beating yourself up over eating chocolate cake or saying something on a date, your willingness and ability to just commit to self-love, that is your quickest way to the moon, literally. That is your quickest way to your feminine power and energy and just truth as a woman. So just commit to that, and things will unfold powerfully, I know.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. And importantly, what I noted from that practice in terms of integrating those parts is the difference in terms of the quality and the caliber of relationship that we can manifest from that place compared to that place of feeling as though there's something missing, that place of feeling loneliness. So such a beautiful, beautiful conversation. I'm really thrilled to have you as part of the virtual retreat. And is there anything else you want to add before we finish?
Just that everybody here, you know, this is a special space, and there's a reason that you're here, and don't underestimate that power. That, you know, don't underestimate yourself. And I am acknowledging you as an important and special and powerful being. And the fact that you are here receiving this very message right now is a huge clue to your trajectory and what's coming for you. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you so much. Now, don't forget to download the beautiful gifts that Anya is sharing with us today and her amazing meditation. It's all on this page with this video that you're watching right now. Make sure to follow any of the social links and connect with Anya as well and become part of her community. And we will see you tomorrow for another love transformation class. Thanks.